Hello and welcome to another video. So I've been thinking about doing a video like this for quite some time, but I wasn't sure. But I went into a koi shop the other day and the guy was having trouble with one of these pumps, or a similar pump to this one. So I thought I'd actually make this video because it might be interesting to some people. So this is actually a superfish Eco Plus E 15,000. But the pump that the guy in the shop was having trouble with was an Oasis version, and it's just sort of this style of pump. So I used to run this exact pump actually on my quarantine tank for my fish, for my little fry at the back of the fish house, and that, it kind of annoyed me. So I didn't actually know about this issue sort of thing until I actually finally removed the pump, and that's why it's here. Although for the past year I've used it for just sort of messing about kind of purposes and as a spare pump. So what the issue was I was having with this pump, and the other quarantine tank also runs on one of these, and that did have the issue as well, is randomly it would turn off and I'd be like, why is the pump off? Fortunately, you can tell with my ponds when the pump's gone off because the water level rises strangely, and it's a bit weird. So I'd know the pump's turned off even if it were only for a couple of minutes because the water level would be well too high. So I knew that were happening and I didn't know why. And then later on I thought, I'm just going to get rid of these pumps, I'm absolutely sick of it. Sometimes when I turn the pump itself back on, it wouldn't actually start up, and that were really frustrating. A couple of times I had to like prime it to get it working despite the pump being below the water level. Anyway, I'll show you why I was having issues with it, and obviously I don't know what this is going to look like inside this pump, so we'll just work it out. I don't think it'll be really mucky, although I don't believe I've ever cleaned this one. So let's have a look inside. So what you do is, on the front of the pump there's 4 screws. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I'm going to remove these screws. So there we go, that's the screws removed. And then there we can see, catch the screws, there we go, screws aside. So there we can see the impeller. It's actually quite clean now, because it's been let dry out and that. And the main problem I had with the fry tank is that the fry produces a lot of waste and it gives this like slimy muck off. So that pump, especially with having a lot of trouble with the slimy muck. And the reason for that is this. So this is actually a motor sort of thing. The motor is just a coil in here, and then it's like a wet bearing, so it's actually still wet in here despite this pump not being on for quite a long time. And this is just your magnet, so basically it's like a normal motor, but the motor coil is inside a waterproof area and the magnet is actually inside the water itself, and it literally just slots in and out like that quite easily. It holds itself in place, obviously it's a magnet. But on the quarantine tank, because the fry were producing this gunky stuff that even got past the drum filter, this was all made up with the gunk and brown muck, and so was inside here. And it was sort of somehow stopping the pump from, it was quite easy to turn manually, it was always easy to turn, but for some reason it was stopping the pump from automatically starting up. I think it's because they have some sort of really slow startup procedure where it doesn't apply much power at all, and that. So basically I'd probably recommend doing something like this like once a year to your pump. I know it's a bit of a pain. It'd be easier if your pump was actually in the pond, because obviously when your pump's in the pond you end up taking it out every time you clean your filters, really. Or I used to do when I had a pump in the pond. but when they're plumbed in line like this one was and the other ones are, it's a bit of a nightmare to remove them. So best really thing to do is, if you install one, put a ball valve at each side, ball valve on inlet, ball valve on outlet, turn it off, disconnect your pump once, so you can disconnect your pump once a year and get it clean out, and then it'll run probably more efficiently and not do the thing where it randomly stops, because it did just used to just turn off for no apparent reason at all. So basically what I'm going to do now is get a towel and get a bit of clean. So I've got some cloths, and it's basically just get a quick clean round. It's quite simple, I guess. At first I didn't know this actually magnet came out, and I remember pulling it out for the first time and I kind of thought I'd broken it. And so you know, it's a good thing to know that it does actually come apart really easy as well. Just literally them 4 screws on a superfish pump. I imagine an Oa's one is very similar. There you go, that's that clean enough. Go around it with some water, but this one's not bad. One that would actually be running in a pond would probably be muckier than this. Obviously this one's, I haven't used it since last year, and it run a quarantine tank for a bit, a temporary tank. And basically what I'm doing now is getting it ready to go back on the quarantine tank again. So yeah, I'm getting this pump ready to go back on a quarantine tank for the summer. Making it nice and clean. Pretty easy procedure. So I ended up actually replacing these pumps originally because of this issue. Am I glad I replaced them? Yeah, because the pumps I put on it are much better. And the pump I put on it is not as economical, but the pump I put on it is more convenient for my situation. It pumps a lot more water than this one did, and I'll never have any issues with that. Well, I'll never have any issues with it not running when there's power to it. I'm not a big fan. This one's actually got a remote control to adjust the power, and to be honest, I'm not a massive fan of these pumps. Personally, I think you shouldn't really adjust your water flow. I think it should be a constant, because if you slow your water down, you're just causing spots of muck to build up in your drain lines and stuff like that. If you've got a pump that's in line with your drains and stuff like that, rather than in the water. So personally, I prefer not to have a dimmable pump. The only advantage of a dimmable pump is that this one were a 15,000 litre pump, and the tank that I had it on didn't need that much flow at all. So I could dim it really far down, and it actually made the pump really economical. So I only needed like a 5,000 litre an hour pump, and because this were a 15,000 litre pump, when it would dim down to about 5,000 litres an hour, it used about 15-20 watts, so it literally had barely any running costs. So now I've cleaned it, basically just pop it back in line. You don't have to line it up or anything, it literally just pulls itself in like that, and then get that spin till it goes into its little orifice. Give that a quick wipe. And then it's just a case of so it turns nice and free. Popping that back on. Take the seals in place still. Nothing gonna stick on it. Pop that back on. Also, another thing, if you ever wanted to, you could put it on the other way around, so it fires upside down. One of my pumps actually fires upside down, which is quite handy. And then just basically put them in. Screw it in. There we go. One pump ready for a new season of pumping. Thank you for watching this video. If you liked it, then please like it. If you want to see more videos like this and fishy related videos, then please feel free to subscribe. And I shall see you in the next video. Thank you for watching.